Hello everyone, FPL Willem here. It's been a while since I've uploaded, I know it, but Champions League doesn't come around every week, so and the only thing I do is basically talk about UCL fantasy, but I need UCL there to talk about it. But in this video I will talk about how I did last week, well at least last game week. Last week there was no Champions League, but last game week. Then I will just go quickly through the bracket, the targets we have to focus on. There are only 2 teams to focus on and some other teams you could spread out for. To just take care of it. I will show you guys my my team and my issues. I have a lot of issues in my team, and I have still a wild card in my team, so I will spoil it already. I will use that wild card. I won't activate it until the last moment. I know that often because sometimes there are some issues along the way on the Tuesday itself. And then after it, I will just give some advice on differential plays you could choose. But if you need some advice, just see the plays I pick. I think those are the best plays to pick as I have my wild card. If you have any questions below, if you have any issues, just drop them in the comment section or whatever. DM me on Twitter, and I will try to react to your questions. But for now, let's just jump in how I've done last game week. So as I said, it has been a minute since the Champions League was played. I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks. So I had to really see what everyone did actually. If you can see, my bench didn't do all that great, but that's where your bench is for. I only got like 7 points on my bench. After it, if you can see it, I didn't go with Sommer as I've gone with Raya, and Raya conceded the goal. It was against PSV, and I expected him to concede, to be honest. It wasn't even... I didn't even expect him to play, but he did play. And yeah, I put Sommer on the bench, just hoping I could get a clean sheet or some saves there. But yeah, De Vrij, he didn't play. He got injured just before the match. I think he was a great option there, but he got injured last minute in the warming up, so that was a bit sad. Then Salah, yeah, just didn't do all that much. He's a bit off last week. He's only scoring a few penalty goals, but I think he will bounce back, at least in the Premier League there. Of course, he's out now, so won't be there. Same as who is out is Grimaldo. Grimaldo didn't do anything as well. I didn't expect them to get literally hammered by Bayern München, as they are doing decent, or at least great, or in between there in the Bundesliga. But yeah, it wasn't all that great for my bench. Then my defense wasn't all that great either. I didn't get a clean sheet with Dumfries, Gabriel and Koundé. At least I got some ball recoveries there, but not all too special. Then Adeyemi didn't get me a return. Olmo, I was doubting between going Yamal or Olmo, but it happens, you choose wrongly sometimes, so I've gone with Olmo and I should have gone with Yamal in hindsight. Then I got Rafinha, the captaincy. I think everyone had him. Maybe not everyone captained him, but I think he was the most obvious pick to captain. Then I got Rodgers, who got, I think he got a lucky assist there. Not quite sure, to be honest, but he got some points. Let's just say he got some points. Then Guirassy got a penalty goal. Mbappe didn't do anything, or didn't really do anything. He got an assist, but nothing that special. Lewandowski didn't do anything as well. I expected him to get something, but yeah, didn't really get anything there. So not too bad. 62 points overall. I'm close to 1,000 points and 2,607 in the world. I think there are a few million players and at least 1 million active players. So not doing that bad, and I still have my wildcard, so I'm hoping to make some difference in the near future. But this was my team from last week. Now, I could have skipped this slide because I think most of you guys know which teams to focus on. But I'm just going to start up top left with Arsenal, Real Madrid. And it's important to know that, of course, Arsenal plays at home. That means in the next round, Real Madrid plays at home. So if it's a close match, Real Madrid has the home advantage. Now, I won't really pick all too many players from these teams, as it is really a close match. Like last time it was Paris Saint-Germain against Liverpool. I thought Liverpool would go through, as they had the home advantage and they were 1-0 up, but it didn't. Even I'm wrong sometimes, I guess, or a lot of times. But in this this fixture I can't predict. I have no idea. I think overall Real Madrid will go through, but this match Arsenal could win. I know they have a decent defense, but Gabriel's out. They have some more injuries there. Saka is back, so they are rested. But yeah, just interested how it will look like in the coming match. Then top right is Barcelona, Borussia Dortmund. Barcelona play at home, Borussia Dortmund away. So I think it's important. Barcelona are already the better team, and they play at home. So I think it's important to focus on Barcelona here. It's not the worst to take a Borussia Dortmund attacker. I won't recommend a defender. Maybe Can. I've been wrong about Can. I thought he wouldn't do anything. I really wanted him out last time. He took a penalty and he scored, so that was a bit painful. But if you would like to go for a Borussia Dortmund player, just go for an attacker like Adeyemi or Guirassy, but I would recommend just going for Barcelona on this one. Then bottom left is Paris Saint-Germain, Aston Villa. The other one that's quite obvious. I think it's important to go for Paris Saint-Germain players. They play at home once again. They won from Liverpool, or in Liverpool, so I expect them to win against a lesser team in the competition in the Premier League, against Aston Villa there as well. So at home, the great players. I don't think there's even, maybe Rodgers, you could go with Rodgers from Aston Villa, but all the other players from Paris Saint-Germain, I will show you guys them in my wildcard. So just have a minute before I'm done with this slide. And bottom right there's Bayern Munich and Inter. And if you really strong thoughts about who will go through, then you could put some players in there. I think overall Inter will go through, but it's basically a 50-50 there. It depends how the first rounds will go. I think Inter will keep it close, especially in the defense. If they can keep a clean sheet, a 0-0, I think they will take it at home against the Bayern Munich. But it's basically a great attack versus a great defense, and Inter are even in the attack are great. But yeah, we will see it there. Yeah, so who to focus on? Give me 1 minute. Now, who to focus on? I couldn't put them any bigger on your screen, but it's Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain. Of course, Barcelona against Dortmund at home and Paris Saint-Germain against Aston Villa at home. So not really anything to speculate about it. I think just to name some players up, I think in the defense you could with Koundé and Balde, even the goalkeeper Szczesny is only 4 million and he will probably keep his place in goal. I know Ter Stegen is coming back. I don't think he will play this season, but there is a chance, and I'm pretty sure, since the moment Szczesny joined, he hasn't lost any game at Barcelona. So yeah, that's a great option. Then you have Rafinha, Yamal and Lewandowski. I think those are the most obvious pick to go from. And for Paris Saint-Germain, I think the easiest picks is in goal Donnarumma. You could go with Donnarumma. Then even there, you could go with Pacho, Hakimi. Nuno Mendes is also great, and then in the midfield you have so many options there. So Barcola, Dembele, of course. I think everyone will go with Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, and in the attack, I don't think you have that many players in the attacking department. So maybe you shouldn't go with an attacker from there. There are a lot of options over these 8 teams. So maybe in the attacking department you won't go with a Paris Saint-Germain player. But yeah, these are just the targets or the teams to focus on. I think from every team, like 4 or 5 players in your team, and you're set to go. Now this is what my current team looks like. So as you can see, I have issues with Salah, Grimaldo and Gabriel at this moment in time. It doesn't show my other red signs, so I will just mark them myself. But these are my issues. I have Olmo, who is injured, won't play in the next fixture there as well. So away against Dortmund, he won't play. Salah is out. Dumfries is injured, he won't play, and I don't think he will play the fixture after it. Then I have Grimaldo. Grimaldo is out there as well. Gabriel is out for the season. And then I have 2 keepers. I didn't really think that through. I have to admit that. I have 2 keepers who play on the same date. So yeah, I have some issues there as well. And even these big issues, I still have some minor issues there as well. So I think having Stefan de Vrij against Bayern Munich, it's not the worst, it's not the best. I think having a player that plays at home like a Kim is a better option just because of the home advantage. Stefan de Vrij isn't that big of an issue. So I think Morgan Rodgers is a bit bigger of an issue as they play away against Paris Saint-Germain. Now Rodgers is phenomenal at the moment, so still not that big of an issue, and at least he plays. But yeah, then next to him is Adeyemi. I said before that Adeyemi and Guirassy, let's just take them both, aren't that big of an issue as they play against a Barcelona who does probably win, but they will concede probably some goals there as well. But I think I could do better, and with only 5 transfers, and I have 6 major issues as I have 5 players that are out, and I have goalkeepers that play on the same day, and then some minor issues there as well. I think it's time to use my wildcard, so I just want to go and show you guys what my wildcard will look like in my next slides. Now, of course, we start off with the goalkeepers, and I just wanted to point out for everyone who is choosing a goalkeeper, you have to pick between the red ones up top or the green ones below. So it's if you pick a goalkeeper, or you pick a goalkeeper from Arsenal or Real Madrid and from Barcelona or Borussia Dortmund, or you pick a goalkeeper from Paris Saint-Germain or Aston Villa, of course, or Bayern Munich and Inter. That's basically because the best scenario would have been that you've picked Szczesny and Donnarumma, Those are the easiest fixtures, to be honest. I think we can all agree on that. But the problem is they play both on the 9th of April. So or you pick from the red ones up top or the green ones below. And that's basically because if you pick Barcelona or Borussia Dortmund goalkeeper and you pick one from Bayern Munich and Inter, next round they play against each other. With a bit of unlucky, they won't play, but if they play against each other. So you want two goalkeepers from the opposite sides of the bracket, and you want them to play on different dates. So in this case, it will be the top ones or the below ones. Now, for financial reasons, already I've gone with Szczesny and Courtois, so the top ones. I think the below one is just a bit better. I think Sommer and Donnarumma is the better option, but that's literally a 50-50. But for financial reasons, I've gone with Szczesny and Courtois. Courtois is a great goalkeeper. I don't expect him to keep a clean sheet against an Arsenal, especially now Saka is back and they have a great A team, except for Gabriel, so a corner threat less. And Szczesny, I think basically because Dortmund has a bigger chance of scoring against Barcelona than Aston Villa has against Paris Saint-Germain, but just as I said, for financial reasons, I've gone with these two goalkeepers. You could go with the other guys. That's basically as good, if not better. But this is the keepers I've gone with. So no surprise there at the left back on my team. It doesn't really matter where you place it, but on the left back, I've gone with Hakimi. I think every single one, at least in my competition, will have Hakimi, and I think everyone who still plays will have Hakimi in their team. So yeah, not really a differential there. I've gone with Pacho next to him. Don't think he's really that differential, but he does get a lot of ball recoveries, and I think he could be able to keep a clean sheet. Then I've gone with Koundé. Koundé isn't really that big of a differential. A lot of people have him as well. There's an opportunity. I will switch him with someone else, and I will talk about it a bit later. But I have Koundé. The next one is Kim. I thought let's just put one from Bayern Munich in and one from Inter in. So if there is if anyone has a clean sheet, at least I have one of them. And then De Vrij next to him, as I've said earlier. And I wish I could go with Di Marco. But I'm coming some short of money. But there are some opportunities I could change there. But this is my defense at the moment. It could change, of course, as always. It could change just before the deadline. I'll always try to post it like in half an hour before the deadline. But this is what I am having right now. Now in the midfield, as I'm just seeing this, I know I set it up, but as I'm seeing this is just the most basic team you could make on a wildcard. But it's a bit boring, I know, but I'm trying to gain some ranks. Often the most boring picks are the best picks, but in this case I've gone with Yamal. He's shown it last time, Olmo is out, so I'm going with Yamal. Rafinha next to him, everyone has Rafinha. Now Saka is back, maybe a bit of a differential, but I don't think so. Saka is back. He scored immediately against Fulham. I didn't have him in my FPL team, so that was a bit of a lackluster. But yeah, Saka's back. Dembele, why wouldn't you go with Dembele? And then Kvaratskhelia, I think. Yeah, it's a midfield that picks itself. Instead of Kvaratskhelia, I could go with Barcola or another midfielder. But I think this is quite set in stone, and it won't really change for me if there is no injury news or any other news. But yeah, I think this will be my midfield. Quite boring, as I said, and quite predictable, but sometimes boring is the best option or the best way to go. Now in the attacking department, there are some decent options there. Just to go through my attackers, I've gone with Mbappé, Lewandowski and Harry Kane. I think they have all an incredibly high ceiling, but I think they have quite a high floor there as well. So it's once again a safe bet, but that's often what you do in these rounds. A lot of teams will look like each other. So you could go with Vinicius, but Vinicius missed a penalty last game week in the La Liga. So I think Mbappé will be on penalties once again. Robert Lewandowski is on penalties. He scores a lot of goals, and especially against a team like Dortmund, who at this stage in the tournament are one of the lesser teams. I think he has a great option there. And Harry Kane, he's just proven me wrong a lot of times, especially against Bayer Leverkusen. He scored a few goals against them, and I didn't have him in my team. I should have, but I didn't. I thought there were better options, but he proved me wrong. There are, of course, some other options there as well in the attacking department. I will talk about it in the next slide. So I keep 0.1 in a million. I keep 0.1 million in the bank. You guys, if you make a wildcard and you copy this team, there is an option you don't have enough money in your bank. As I said, in the next slide I will show you some possible other transfers you could do. There are, if not as good, a bit lesser than, in my opinion, this team. I think, of course, I will make for myself the best teams I could make, and this is the best I could get up with the value I have. There is an opportunity, there's one opportunity, and I will spoil it in a second. Now for the differentials, I would just quickly want to talk about the opportunity I was talking about last slide at the last moment. That opportunity would be to instead go with Stefan de Vrij, I would go with DiMarco, but then I need 0.4. Yeah, I'm down 0.4, I need that 0.4 somewhere, so I would downgrade Koundé to Balde. It's not really that big of a difference, but I think the ceiling for DiMarco would be way higher than for Stefan de Vrij, but I think the ceiling for Koundé is a bit higher than Balde, but not that much. I think the difference between DiMarco and Stefan de Vrij is a bit bigger, but I could, yeah, it's just 50 minutes before the deadline, guys. I promise you guys. Follow me on Twitter, FBO Willem. In the defense, I've decided to go with Donnarumma and Sommer here. Those are the differentials, as I said earlier. Nothing too special there. Then I've gone with Hakimi. I promise you guys to show you differentials, but you can't get around Hakimi. You can't get around Hakimi. Then DiMarco, I've talked about him. Balde, I've talked about him. Timber will play. He has an injury sign on his left, but he isn't. He played both games last time in the Premier League, so he will be in the starting lineup. If you won't, then I owe you one. Nuno Mendes next to him. If I'm seeing him right now, Nuno Mendes is a way better option than Pacho. No, not way better, but I think he has some bigger potential and assists in ball recovery. I think Pacho has a bit bigger, promises instead of Mendes, but I can't really get around Mendes. I need 0.8 million more in the bank, and I don't know where to drop it. I need to drop like someone like a Kylian Mbappé. So yeah, can't really get around that. Then in the midfield, I've gone with Rafinha and Dembele. I've made this all like an hour before, and then I'm just seeing Rafinha and Dembele, and I know why I've put them in, because you can't get around, but it's just really funny to see it in the differentials video or in the differential slide. So the Rafinha and Dembele, you can't. I think we can't really get around it. If there's any player who gets more points that I didn't put in the slide or last slide, just I'll give you a shout out if you can find one, or at least in your team. Then Jude Bellingham instead of Saka. I think Jude Bellingham plays the second game. If you don't have a wild card as I have, then I think going with Bellingham is a safer option, as you prepare for the next game there as well if they play at home. Then instead of Kvaratskhelia, you go with Barcola, and instead of Yamal, you go with Olise. I think Yamal is a better pick, but if you need some savings, you could go with Olise. And then in striker positions, I've gone with Martinez, Vinicius Junior, and that's once again Lewandowski. I think I could have gone with Guirassy instead of Lewandowski. I just think you really can't get around Lewandowski. I think those four players, Hakimi, Rafinha, Dembele, and Lewandowski, you can't get around them. Maybe Lewandowski or Guirassy for Lewandowski, but these are players. If you need like if you're behind, if you're like 20 to 30 points behind in your mini league, and you need to scrap some points from somewhere, these are some players you could pick. I wouldn't go all that all completely mental and picking this exact team to get some points back. I think to claw your way back in your mini league is just going a bit different with your captaincy. I know there are some obvious choices as last time with Rafinha, maybe Lewandowski, but just go a bit different with players, like instead of going Lewandowski or Rafinha captaincy, try to pick the other one. So if you know your friend in your mini league is going with Rafinha, try to go with Lewandowski or vice versa. Those are like the things you could make some ground with. And instead of going with Kvaratskhelia, try to go with Barcola. Those are some minimal changes. I don't think you have to completely erase Lewandowski, Rafinha, Hakimi, or some big players you don't want, as those are just players that are not guaranteed for points, but they are closer to guaranteed for points. So if you go different, just try to go with, as you can see, instead of a Saka, you go with Bellingham. Instead of a Koundé, you go with Balde. Those are some options you could make some ground with. So this is my all-in-one video. I know usually I do a bit more, but I just think it isn't really useful anymore at the end of this Champions League, or at the end of the Champions League campaigns. There are a lot of teams out. There are only a few players left where you know you will have to put them in a team, like in this case Hakimi or a Rafinha or Lewandowski. Those are the teams to focus on. So if you have any questions, if you need any tips, if you have a lot of injuries, if you think you might take a -4 or you don't and have any questions, just put them in the comments. DM me on Twitter. I'll try to react and give my best answer to that. So for this one, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As I said, if you have any questions, drop them down in the comments. I hope you guys liked it. Drop a subscribe, drop a like, whatever you do on YouTube. I'm not that active on it anymore, but if there are any questions, I hear from you guys. I hope you have a good campaign, or at least a good game week, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.